Hi, this is Mato. In this video I will show you game 4 from World Chess Championship 2013. In this game Anand had white pieces and he started with e4. Carlsen played e5, knight to f3 attacking the pawn on e5, defending, and Anand played bishop to b5, Ruy Lopez or Spanish opening. It is black to move. a6 is the most popular move in this position. Carlsen played knight to f6, Berlin defense. This defense was made popular by Kramnik, who used it successfully in his match against Kasparov in London in the year 2000. Anand castled kingside. Knight takes on e4, d4, knight to d6 attacking the bishop. Bishop takes knight, d takes on c6, d takes on e5 attacking the knight, knight to f5, and the queens are exchanged. White to move. Knight to c3 is the most popular move in this position. Anand played h3. Bishop to d7, rook to d1, pinning the bishop. Bishop to e7, knight to c3, king to c8 and pinning. Bishop to g5, h6, bishop takes bishop, knight takes bishop, rook to d2. The idea is to double the rooks on d file. c5. What is the purpose of this move? It is preventing knight from coming to d4. Rook from a to d1. Bishop to e6. Knight to e1. Knight to g6 attacking the pawn on a5. Anand played knight to d3, defending the pawn on e5 and attacking the pawn on c5. Black has a chance to win the pawn with c4. Carlsen played b6, defending the pawn and making the room for the king to come to b7. Well, this is better than c4. Let's have a look. If c4 is played, then knight to c5, and now if knight takes on e5, knight takes bishop, f takes on e6, rook to e1 attacking the knight and extracting the pawn on e6, and after knight to c6, rook takes pawn and white is better. So we have b6, and now this is very interesting. Not b3, that is defending the pawn on a2 and fighting against c4 pawn push. Knight to e2 was played, tempting Carlsen to capture the pawn on a2. If bishop takes pawn on a2, it may be trapped. Would you capture on a2 with the bishop if you had black pieces? Carlsen did his calculations, and here we go. Very brave. Bishop takes on a2, b3, and the bishop is trapped temporarily. c4, knight from d to c1, c takes on b3, c takes on b3, bishop to b1, f4, and now king to b7. This is deep move, vacating c8 square for the black light squared bishop. Knight to c3 attacking the bishop. Bishop to f5, g4, and now you can see that this is the only good square for the bishop. Bishop to c8. The bishop is home to tell his story. He killed Anand's pawn and managed to escape alive. Knight to d3, preparing f5, h5, f5, knight to e7, knight to b5. Black is a pawn up, but white has a compensation in view of space advantage and better activity of the pieces. Do you agree? Pawn takes pawn, pawn takes pawn, rook to h4, attacking the pawn on g4. Let's take it back. a6 is even stronger. Rook to h4 was played. Knight to f2, defending the pawn and clearing the path for the rook. And now a6 is no longer as strong in view of this continuation. Check. C takes on d6. E takes on d6, attacking the knight. Knight to c6 and d7. If the knight was on d3, then bishop takes on d7. Okay, in the game we have knight to c6. Rook to c2, x-raying the pawn on c7. a5, preparing a4 to activate the rook. If a6 is played, how should white continue? This is what Anand had in mind. Rook from d to c1. And now if pawn takes knight, then rook takes on c6 and white is winning. Perhaps in this position then bishop to d7 is better. Yeah, now if e6, pawn takes pawn, and now pawn takes knight, e takes on d7. Then rook to h6. Okay, in the game we have a5. Rook to c4, preventing a4 pawn push. g6. Rook from d to c1, attacking the knight. If knight moves, rook takes on c7. Bishop to d7. e6. f takes on e6. f takes on e6, attacking the bishop. Bishop to e8. Knight to e4. Well, knight to e4 was a bit unexpected. Anand is sacrificing another pawn. Rook takes on g4, check. King to f2. It is black to move. How should black continue? Carlsen played rook to f4. He was taking care of his rook because there is a threat of check and discovered attack on the rook. But rook to d8 is even stronger. Now this check doesn't work. Let's have a look. If knight from e to d6 check, discovered attack on the rook, then pawn takes knight. And now if rook takes on g4, knight to e5, double attack, attacking the rook on g4 and the knight on b5. And now if rook goes to d4, then what? Bishop takes on b5. And if e7 is played, this is very interesting now. Then knight takes on g4, check. King to g3, rook to d7, king takes knight, rook takes on e7. And black is better, isn't he? Even after knight takes on d6. Then king to a6. Black is 2 pawns up. Okay. Rook to f4 was played in the game. Check. King to e3. Anand is 2 pawns down, but white pieces seem to be positioned better than black pieces. What do you think? g5 comes to mind. Rook to f8. Knight to d4. Knight takes knight, and now not king takes knight immediately, but in between move. Rook takes on c7 check. King to a6. King takes knight. Rook to d8 check. Just imagine that you have white pieces. Will you play king to e5, keeping your king centralized, or king to c3, cutting communications between two rooks? What would you do? Anand played king to c3, cutting communications between two rooks. Is that bad? No, it's not that bad. The other one was bad. King to e5 was bad move. Can you see the downside of this move? Kaboom. Checkmate. Okay, so we have king to c3. Rook to f3 check. King to b2. Rook to e3. Attacking the knight and x-raying white pawn on e6. Anand played rook to c8. Rook from d to d3. Well, rook takes on c8 is also possible. Let's have a look what happens then. This looks very ordinary, but it's okay for black. Well, that's what I think. I'm not world champion, am I? Then rook takes rook. Rook takes on e4. And now, if rook takes on e8, king to b5. And black is slightly better. What do you think? Slightly better. Okay. Rook from d to d3 was played. Check. Tempting black to go to b5, which looks like a better position. But it's not. King to b7 was played. Let's have a look what happens if king goes to b5. What's bad about this? Knight to c3 check. Rook takes bishop is next. So we have king to b7. Rook takes bishop. Rook takes knight. e7. White pawn is so close to glory. Rook to g3, preventing white from playing rook to g1. Rook to c3. Check. Rook to c2. Rook from e to e3. How to defend the pawn? What would you do? This is how Anand defended the pawn. Really? Can black capture the pawn on b3? Carlsen played g5. Well, this is bad. Why? This is bad in view of discontinuation. Rook to b8 check, vacating the square for the pawn. After king takes rook, the pawn is pushed and promoted to an ox. No, to a queen. And white is winning. Okay, so in the game we have g5. Rook to d2. Rook to e5. Rook to d7 check. King to c6. Rook from e to d8. Rook from g to e3. Check. King to b7. Rook from 8 to d7. King to a6. Rook to d5. Rook to e2 check. King to a3. Rook to e6. Rook to d8. Let's take it back. Can white win the pawn on g5? Did Anand miss the move? Well, rook takes on g5 is bad in view of discontinuation. b5, then random move, and then check. King to a4, check, mate. Okay, so we have in the game rook to d8, g4, rook to g5, rook takes on e7, check, king to b7, rook from 8 to g8, a4, rook takes on g4, 8 takes on b3, rook from 8 to g7, king to a6, rook takes on e7, rook takes rook, king takes on b3, and the draw was agreed. The game was so complicated. When I ran it through Houdini engine, even Houdini got confused. What actually happened? Houdini made a move in which white captured his own piece. Unbelievable. Just kidding. And that is all. I hope that you enjoyed watching this video. I wish you good luck with your chess and bye for now.